What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Power Rankings, guys, where we power rank anything and everything Survivor Michigan. As always, I'm Paul, and I'm here with Joe.
Hi, everybody.
Wow. Do we have some stuff to talk about?
Oh my gosh, I know. We've had 2 weeks to, marinate on this last episode. 3 people went home, so we need to discuss that. Lots to dig into tonight.
I'm still exhausted. It hasn't. 2 weeks was not long. It's long enough because I definitely cannot wait to get to the merge and get to the next chapter of this game. But 2 weeks was not long enough to fully process everything that happened in this episode. 2 tribals, 3 boots.
Oof.
Gallons of tears shed.
Oh my gosh.
Innumerable amounts of shade thrown by other people. I think this is definitely our shadiest episode yet.
Yeah.
Where there are just people who are we are at the point now where certain people are just not having it anymore with certain other people. And I think we're about to start to see that breaking point. I think we're about to start to see like the Kevin and Jackson, like everybody reach Kevin and Jackson's speed of like, I hate these people. Why am I here?
Gosh. Yeah.
Which is fun. And I'm very excited for it. Let's just dive right in because we have a ton to cover tonight.
Yeah.
Everyone at this tribal council is dressed for different seasons. Brady is wearing a t-shirt and jeans, and there are people in full winter coats, like shivering. I have no idea what the temperature is.
Right. Yeah. That's so funny.
And like, I get it. I'm from Michigan. Sometimes you have to dress both ways in the same day. That's how Michigan weather is. But these people are dressed this way in the same moment, in the same place, which is confusing.
But yes, very confusing weather-wise. No idea what season it is.
No idea what season. No idea what the weather's like. This vote comes out 4-4 to 1-1. The editing of this is so impeccably good. Like, it's so brilliant because like it's so heartbreaking.
My gosh.
And you're watching it and you're thinking, oh my God, this is happening. Because you see the 4 Lucy votes come out and get canceled. Then you see the 4 Jesse votes, and there's 2 votes that come in are still in the urn. And you know what they're supposed to be. And Lucy looks at Jackson and she says, "Did you vote for Cooper?" And he goes, just like that. And you're like, you did it. You guys did it. It happened. And then it didn't actually happen.
The amount of emotion I had during all that was like a lot. And again, like, we love Cooper, but we talked about this before. Like, it would have been a massive move to take him out there, and I think it would have really opened up the game. And I think in that aspect of it, it's like, damn, I wish we would have seen that happen. The other side of that too is Jackson basically voted himself out, which, like, it seems like a very Jackson thing to do, but it's like not necessarily maybe what we wanted to see. It's a really
unsatisfying conclusion to his arc. Now, I'm sure there are people who find this conclusion very satisfying. And I understand, like, if you feel some type of way about Jackson, you might think this is the best thing that could have ever happened and is the funniest possible conclusion. We're not those people. We love Jackson. And I was actually re-listening to an old Power Rankings, guys, because it came on when I plugged in my phone in the car. We were talking like how Jackson was in our top 5 or possibly top 3 players we wanted to see play again. Like, we had him that high. It was like, like Jackson and Maggie were basically like, this is who we need to see play again.
That's a good list.
And to get Jackson back was so good. He was so good here. This ending, it just is so hurtful.
Yeah.
I have written down here, Jackson apply for LRG's challenge 2023. Like, we need to see him play something again at some point. Like, somebody send Jackson some LRG links, like, get him the bug again to come and play Survivor again, because he's so good.
Yeah. I mean, he's kind of in a he's paralleling Tyson a little bit.
Totally.
Right? Like gets taken out at merge.
Yeah.
Then votes himself out pre-merge.
Mm-hmm.
So all he has to do is come back with Megan in a blood versus water season and
I'm down.
Win.
Yes.
I mean,
sad
is
for what
he a
that means for
senior?
Megan, but yeah.
I know, right? How dare I say that about Megan? But
I'm ready. I mean, I'm ready for any version of Jackson we can get on television in any sort of way. This is brutal. So we go to a tie here, and they're allowed to talk for a minute, a firm minute, and Jackson makes no pitch. I don't think he says a single word through this whole minute.
Right. That was very strange. Was he almost just kind of like, in a weird way, done?
I think it seems like he's pretty quickly realized what happened and like his mistake.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's just
like focusing more on that.
Like shell shocked.
Yeah,
in that
fair.
moment by the, and it's not like Cooper doesn't do a great job. He just says please like 500 times.
I know.
And is like trying to pitch it to everybody. It's not like Cooper does great, but he does work here. I mean, and he is actively, he does say some things. He says, I didn't lie to you guys. I tried to protect you, blah, blah, blah. He's just, it's all nonsense for the most part, but he's working and Jackson is just not. I don't know that there really was anything he could have said. I mean, maybe he could have pulled some people aside and tried to have side conversations, but I don't think that there's a pitch. I don't think he gets to 4 votes. Although, why are Sarah and Nick not seizing on this opportunity?
That, it's funny because that's what I was expecting to happen. Those two and
Lucy.
Who else was it? Right, but she can't.
That's
right. She can't. Yes.
She votes in the
right. So I was like, we know Lucy's voting for Cooper again. Mm-hmm. So then it's just Sarah and Nick, and they need one more person, right? They
and then Bree does vote for Cooper.
Yes, right.
Which maybe they don't know is going to happen, or they don't have a sense, and maybe they don't want to make it 4-3 and rock the boat and further upset these maniacs who are going to lose their minds.
Yeah, I wonder if they had more time, maybe something could have shifted, but
I think definitely if they have more than a minute, because you see Sarah kind of look at Nick at one point, but it's like 15 seconds left is like the next call, and it's like, well, what are you gonna do?
And I think I messaged her after the episode and asked her about that, and I think she said like Nick said no, so they just stuck with it. So obviously they're going to vote together, so it makes sense that they would check in with each other. But again, in like another weird way, I kind of wanted the votes to come out, for Cooper to go on the revote. But
and it's no knock against Cooper. It's not that
no,
we're
not at all
for Cooper, especially by the end of this episode. I'm definitely rooting for Cooper in a certain way.
Yeah,
but him going out here probably would have been the second biggest tribal council in Michigan history.
Yeah.
It's certainly the biggest tribal council so far.
Mm-hmm.
It explodes the game in a way that totally sends everybody reeling.
Yeah.
It sets up, although we got a great tribal council at the end of this episode, it sets up potentially other great tribal council matchups. But then again, it also kind of sets us up for this merge that's going to be very interesting.
Oh my gosh, I know. We were half right that they didn't merge.
Yes.
After this vote, I had said that they would swap into two tribes with one person being on exile or something.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen. But
which sort of makes more sense than what did happen.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Jackson's anti-production rant is hilarious and epic and correct. And shout out to Ian for not editing out and leaving it in, so Jackson didn't have to become a comment warrior. Although, Jackson, if you ever want to come on this podcast and say anything you want, be a comment warrior, rant, dude, you have an open invitation to come and hang out with the Power Rankings guys. We have never leaked any of your secrets. No one on this podcast
That's true.
Has
That's
ever
a very good point.
leaked any of your secrets or voted you out at any point. So I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
Open invitation. My next note says, please stop crying.
Did Did we just sigh at the same time?
Yes, we did, and it was appropriate. Here's the thing. I'm a crier. You know this about me. I'm a big crier.
I've cried too.
I don't have anything. I don't have any problem with crying in the moment.
No, me neither.
For Cooper, I don't really have a problem with crying in the moment for Leia. For Bailey, I guess not. Because she kind of, I mean, people did lie to her, so it's kind of, I guess it's kind of, I'm not as forgiving of it. Why we're still crying going to the challenge, we're crying in confessionals. It's a lot.
Yeah.
And it's an emotional game. I'm an emotional dude. I don't ever fault anybody for showing their emotions. But at some point, you have to regain the control and get back to work.
Yeah. I mean, it's easy for us to say not being in their shoes in that moment. We've definitely both cried in games before.
Totally.
So we can't, we're in that same boat. So it really just like, I would say I appreciate the emotion from people. Like, we do know how much they're putting into this. It's a 100-day game or whatever. Like,
totally.
These are people that they know. So like that, it makes sense. And it was a big move that Cooper and Bailey and Leia were not expecting. It was just wild to like see it. And like the one moment where both Bailey and Cooper are like crying into Sarah, and Sarah's just standing there like, what do I do? Like, get me out of here. Like, that was just very funny. Not funny that they were crying, but just like a funny moment where Sarah's just like, what is happening?
We're going to have a whole conversation about that and Sarah later, because she is just everything so far this season.
I know.
Everything and more. She's so good. And again, like I said, to clarify, no problem with crying in the moment.
Right,
totally understand it.
Yeah.
I get the emotion. It's the lingering effect in the next 7 days of crying and being upset that your friend caught a stray vote and didn't get voted out. To quote one of my favorite drag queens, it's a lot of emotion for Safe. It's a lot of emotion for Safe. But I agree that this is so good for Megan, and I'm glad she's saying it in confessional, that she's like, I'm no longer tied to the most unpopular person in the game, and that's probably good for me. Like,
yeah.
Yep.
I kind of... Right, you almost kind of like, I mean, you can never forget Megan, but she kind of just like fades into the background, which I think is perfect.
She's been doing it all season, and there's no reason for it. She has been a part of every one of the biggest moments of this season until this episode. And she's a part of this episode. Like, she's a big part of, because she's the one that clocks the fake idol.
Right.
So she's been a part of every big thing that's happened this season. And every time it's just that gif of Homer Simpson back into the bushes, like, and back into the bushes goes Megan again. She's back under the radar. It's incredible. She's playing an incredible game, and she's on the upswing.
Yes.
It's insane.
And she kind of got what I don't want to say what she wished for, but I think like Jackson goes, she had nothing to do with that necessarily. She didn't have to vote for him or anything. And I think it helps her for sure.
Totally. Bailey doesn't understand why they didn't include her in their secret plan. I can potentially think of, I can pitch reasons if we'd like to do that.
That's funny.
God bless her. And the thing about Bailey is, like, we've taken her to task a bit on this podcast, but she is in a great spot.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to have a conversation about her when it comes time to power ranking, because I don't know how to power rank her, because you could make an argument Bailey's in the best spot in the game.
Wow. Okay.
You could also make an argument that the fact that Bailey doesn't seem to know that does not qualify her for the power rankings list or the circle of power.
That's like a really good point. Yeah.
Because, like, who is Bailey's enemy? Who is targeting Bailey at this point?
Crickets?
Nobody that I can think of.
Yeah.
Even the people that she leaves out of her Bailey 7 later, I don't think are necessarily coming after her.
Right.
She's in a great spot, but it's like, does she know it? Is she going to blow up her own game at some point? is she thinking, who do I want to sit at the end with yet? I don't think she's there yet.
No, not yet.
But let's put a pin in that.
Yes.
Dizzy Bat symbol memory game.
I have comments.
Please.
And I think I texted this to you.
You did.
We've seen so many of these Dizzy Bat competition in live games. The whole point of it is that the bat has to stay on the ground.
The whole point.
Almost everyone that I can think of. What's the point of lifting it and just spinning? Then just spin in place. So I'm getting so like,
no, you're absolutely right.
This, but like totally I see it all the time, and it's like that's not the point of it. It has to be on the ground. I mean, you still get dizzy. Don't get me wrong, but it's like then you don't need the bat. Just spin around 10 times and then run.
Exactly. Okay, it's not Dizzy Bat if the bat's not on the ground. It's just Dizzy Person.
Yes, exactly.
Which, my first note is that I hate Dizzy Bat as a player and love it as an anything but a player. We used to do this at a high school summer camp that I worked at and chaperoned. And my good friend Taylor, who's never going to hear this, this was over a decade ago now, and I still think of her every time I see a Dizzy Bat in one of these games because she got the dizziest I've ever seen a person during Dizzy Bat and just was unable to stand.
Ooh.
And just like and it just one point was like on her back like an upside down turtle, like with just 4 limbs in the air. And it's probably one of the hardest I've ever laughed in my entire life.
That's
like in my entire
crazy.
It's so, and I think of it's funny. It's so funny, but I think of it still every time I see Dizzy Bat over a decade later.
Was her bat on the ground?
Oh, her bat was on the ground. Also, I have pitches for other Dizzy games that I have played that need to make their way into LRGs at some point. But I might say that I might save that for off the pod.
Okay.
Hot Brady makes an appearance here. I don't think we've talked about this through 7 episodes.
Remind me.
Just that Brady it's literally just that Brady is hot.
Okay.
And that's all I'm talking about. It's not like
I was like, wait, what did he do?
No,
that's funny. He just existed.
Okay. And it's just I noticed it, and in my mind I was like, I don't think we've covered through 7 episodes that Brady is hot and we're all just living with it. So I just wanted to make sure that it got on the podcast this week so we could make another member of the Survivor Michigan community mildly uncomfortable. So the points here, because this is a part of a conversation I want to have later, an alternate universe conversation.
Okay.
So the first 3 points here go to Cooper, Sarah, and Nick. So that tribe is immediately safe 3-0.
Yeah.
Lucy then scores a point for her tribe, but Megan, Sam, and Kevin all score the remaining 3 points to save their tribe. What's interesting here is the alternate universe where Jackson is here and Cooper isn't.
Ooh.
In the context of these
that
points,
does a lot. That even does a lot further down in the episode.
Yes, especially because the last round is Kevin versus Lucy. And Lucy at that point has gone, by my count, at least 3 times.
Wow.
Dizzy Bat over the hill. And it's Lucy's not bad in challenges, but that's a lot of cardio. Is a lot.
Yeah.
And given Jackson's particular strength in challenges, even though we didn't see it this season, this challenge in particular seems like something that would be very, very suited to him. I think there are a lot of universes where having Jackson, Andrew, Lucy, and Leia all competing in this together has a very different outcome.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yes. So let's revisit that towards the end of this episode.
Okay.
Leia, so just generally, Leia doesn't have a great episode for the power rankings guys this time.
Yeah.
It's just not great. I'm not thrilled with the tenor the conversation takes. But the first thing we see of her after this challenge is her being very preachy about Survivor and also being totally unable to control her umbrella. And so she's just talking about, I hate this game. This game shouldn't exist. This club should be disbanded. And she can't get her umbrella to work right. And so she's just furious and just like her umbrella turns inside out and she's just mad. And like, I didn't notice it on the first watch, but on the rewatch, it is so funny because she just can't get this umbrella to work correctly. And
it's like the Survivor Michigan gods are like, no, don't speak ill of us.
Exactly. It's George somewhere from the ether. It's like when Nate couldn't remember his name and Nate lost Survivor because he couldn't remember who George was. It's like, you speak ill of Survivor Michigan, some force of the universe is coming to get you.
Yes.
So I guess let's talk about the elephant in the room here since it did come up. Leia hates Survivor now, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, we got a taste of this maybe an episode or two before where she's kind of talked about this. I guess my confusion is why come back and do it again? Knowing that you have this many friends in the cast, you're gonna have to vote for them. I think at some point later in the episode, she like names everybody that she won't cut, and it's like 5 people of like how many people are in the merge? 11, 12, like
it'll be 12 people at the merge.
So she can't vote for half the cast. Yeah. So it's like, what? Let's say in some miracle, all the other people that she would vote off go out before her. What does she do at the final 6? Just tell everybody to vote her out? Like, I guess I'm just confused.
She just pulls a Mitch at the final 6 and is like, I can't do like.
Yeah, it's just interesting to hear that, and I don't know. There's got to be some metaphor that I'm sure you'll come up with. Like, it's almost like you're doing something that you don't like to do, but you're doing it anyway.
I don't really know what the metaphor for this is because it's so weird. And we haven't really, like, I mean, the only comparison, dare I say, at some point this is getting kind of like Kat from Survivor Michigan season 4. Like, I know that's like blasphemy. I'm sure people are going to be in the comments and in the DMs just that I even brought it up. But like, so the after show this week had a bunch of season 1 people on it, which if you haven't seen it is so good. Also on the Hotness Watch is Alex Thal. For those of you who find yourself attracted in a certain way, that's worth the watch by itself. But Liz is sort of having this conversation about like, hey, like this would be so incredibly difficult. I'm not good at this. But also at one point she's like, yeah, I probably just wouldn't have signed up. And it's like, yeah, that's a very Liz take on the situation. Yeah. It's like, yeah, I don't think I'd be good at this. So I'm probably just not gonna. I'm like, yeah, that I buy that.
Yeah. I think Leia though has such a presence and such a, she does have like a big mark on the series.
Yes.
That I could see her pushing past the I hate Survivor, this shouldn't be a thing, to still do it anyway. So I think it kind of makes sense, but it's just interesting to hear that.
And like, she says like, I'm only here because my friends are here, which I think is valid. And I think everybody does survive, especially college Survivor. Everybody does it for a different reason.
Yeah.
And there's no judgment on whatever your reason is.
Right.
I'm still glad Leia is here because I think she is a good player and I think she's in an interesting position and I think she's played well so far.
Yeah.
I just need her to get over this hump. I don't know maybe she needs like a visit from maybe she needs Mitch like to come on campus like for alumni weekend and just be like, don't do what we did in season 1.
Right.
Play hard and win this game. Like, screw Cooper. Like, I think maybe that's what I'm pitching for the merge is just like a Mitch appearance, like a FaceTime call. Because I think that would help her because Leia's so good.
Yeah.
And Leia, when she's at her best, is an icon.
Right.
Like when she's at her best, she is one of the best ever. And I think that's part of the frustration of this is like, she's so great that it's more frustrating when she does it than when like Lucy or Bailey do it, because I'm like, you have the potential to be incredible.
Yeah, that's a really great way of putting it. It's like more disappointing than anything.
Yeah. And also to move on, because I don't want to spend too much time on that, because I don't want it to seem like we're dogging on somebody that we genuinely love to watch play. But Cooper is fully taking advantage of this.
I actually think he like plays it all pretty well.
He totally does.
He is the emotion 100% fake? No. But I think maybe leaning into that was smart. And the fact that at least in his confessional, he's saying like, I understood the move and I'm just going to try to move on from this and, you know, turn this around to help me in some way, I think is the right approach. So
yeah. Cooper is the person in this situation. I have no qualms with him at all.
Yeah.
Because like in the moment, to be like mentally and emotionally exhausted and to shed tears is something I totally relate to, 100%. And then he does what we want him to do, which is get it together.
Yeah.
Read the situation correctly and work it totally to his advantage.
Right.
Which is what he does.
Yeah.
And you know, he knows Leia is not going to vote for him.
Right.
Of all the many people Leia is not going to vote for, allegedly, Cooper is the most Leia's not going to vote for you person.
Yeah.
And so he's totally happy with protecting her, even though he's not happy with this whole thing with Sam and all this stuff that went down. Like, he's fine with it. And I love it. Good for Cooper. There's also another bit, which Ian, I can't even talk about him anymore because it's just going to seem like I'm just gassing him up. But like, he cuts right to this montage of Kevin and Andrew just roasting Cooper and being like, why are you crying, dude? Shut up. Like, you didn't. And then Kevin being so gloaty, he's like, maybe I don't win this game. He's like, but I did make Cooper cry. And I'm like, yeah, you did, dude. Kevin, I'm back. I never left.
Right.
Kevin train. He's so good. He loves making people cry, and he keeps getting to. No one is accomplishing their goals in this game better than Kevin because his goals are to make people cry.
Right.
And technically, he did it to 3 people at once this episode. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But Kevin got Cooper to cry, and that means, in a way, Kevin has already won Survivor Music All-Stars.
Right.
Sarah giving full will confessional, driving the car and being like, no, like anytime I see someone driving a car being indignant, we'll just call that like the will spot. And so Sarah is in the will spot because she drives a car and she just, at one point, she just throws up her hands, even though she's driving, because it was a GT Circus. And I'm like howling.
Yeah, it was great.
Fully howling at this point. They're like, Sarah, we beat this to death also, but I don't care because I'm going to keep doing it. She is hilarious.
Yeah.
Here. Like, as funny as we've ever seen anyone be in a college Survivor. Like, she's so friggin' funny because she's just she is on the had it train with all of these people. The clip of her trying not to laugh while these people are crying around her. Also, Sarah, I don't know if this is canon or not, but I'm sure she'll message us to find out. Sarah has to be like a huge Office fan because every time something like this happens, she's immediately finding the camera and being like, either like she's a huge Office fan or someone she loves is filming all these scenes. Because like every time it happens, she's immediately finding the camera and being like, and I'm like, right. You like, she's television gold.
Yeah.
She understood the assignment. Andrew, who has a great episode here. And almost a tragic episode.
I know.
He immediately is like, Leia is not voting for Lucy, even though Leia said yesterday that if someone came for Cooper, she was going to murder them. And she's like, now she won't vote for her. And he's just like, he's the one of the most, he and Sarah compete for the most over it this episode. Kevin barely gets a bronze medal in the most over it this episode. Like, he's just like, you said this and now you're not doing it. And he totally clocks like what Leia is doing here. And like the fact that she is so much in the center of things and that this list of people who she's not voting out is very convenient, that it happens to be her friends in real life, but also the people who would most benefit her game. Right. And like, it's so good of Andrew. And he brings up the idea that this proxy war is happening, which is so funny anyhow, because this is coming off of the heels of Bears and Flies, and now we're evolving from Bears and Flies into proxy war. Andrew is seeing this game correctly.
Yes. Totally agree. I mean, he called the no merge.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he knew it was going to be trouble. So I think he played that well in the first part of that episode. But yeah, he really does. And I feel like he's staying pretty like calm about everything, which is nice. Like, he's not freaking out. They were like showing him a lot in this episode, and I was like, oh my gosh, if he goes, like, it's gonna be so bad. But
well, he gets a fake eulogy at the end of this episode, which we're gonna cover.
Yeah,
because he gets the Survivor Michigan like soft lighting, like music behind it, like tell me why you love this game, like out the door, and then it's a fake out.
I know, it was
The next one I have is Lucy text your mom back, damn it. I know that she's going to go out of the game, and I never, ever like to be critical of the player who gets voted out, but Lucy text your mom back. When she texts you, don't wait a week to text your mom back. That's not acceptable.
Yeah, my mom wouldn't have lasted an hour. She would have been calling me.
Yes, 100%. Knocking on the door, 100%.
Yeah.
Although at one point she does say, sorry, I was enjoying my Saturday, which is a hilarious
That was
moment.
Really good.
At this point, I just wrote down, ugh, shut up, which just whoever needs to hear that, just that applies to. Cooper is not mad at all about anything that happens in this episode. He's totally nonplussed by the whole thing. He's having this very funny call with Nick where he's like, listen, if you do something that benefits me and don't tell me about it, I don't care. Feel free. Go for it. He's so... Later, Lucy will say she hates Survivor Cooper, and I just couldn't disagree more. I think Survivor Cooper is fantastic, and I feel like we're just now getting to see Survivor Cooper. Like this, like Survivor Cooper we saw in season 1, who's really feeling himself, really kind of like masterminding things and being funny about it, and like I more Survivor Cooper, not less.
Yeah, right.
Sarah fake crying with Bailey.
That was incredible. I mean, we got a glimpse of it in the scavenger hunt where she was crying in the library or whatever. But that was like, I'm so bad at awards. What's the
I mean, it's an Oscar, it's an Emmy, it's a Tony, it's whatever award you want.
Like, she can have all of them. Yeah,
she gets all EGOT for this episode.
Yeah, exactly.
Michigan, as far as I care. She's so funny.
Yeah, that was
great.
She
also says at one point, you got to meet people where they're at. And yes, she's kidding and being funny, but also this is straight out of the Dale handbook. Like, this is the Dale's way to win Survivor. This is like, this is even like very Mallory buying ice cream. This is classic Survivor Michigan winning technique. Is meeting people where they are. Love it.
It was so good.
Yeah, Lucy hates Survivor Cooper, which is so funny. Megan is back to angry smiling in this episode with Kevin. And like, this is how you know that she is in a good spot again, because she smiles through the whole episode.
Yeah.
We're back to season 4 Megan. She's happy smiling, she's angry smiling, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's back, baby.
Yes.
Megan is back.
Megan is back.
So happy. Bailey is seeming to finally accept her twin fate with Kevin, that we've been begging her to do this whole time. And at one point she's like, I know people through the screen are going to be yelling at me like, why are you doing this? I'm like, no, opposite day, Bailey. We're yelling at you like, why haven't you done this yet? If Bailey sits in the final 3 with Kevin with this particular jury, I think Bailey's in a good spot.
I agree with that, actually. If she can get there and Kevin.
I don't think any of these people really respect Kevin.
No, which is unfortunate.
Which is totally unfortunate and isn't necessarily the way it's going to play out because we're only at final 12.
Yeah.
But at this point, Bailey should be thinking like, why not?
Right, because like I think Kevin at a final tribal would be very interesting. I hope we get to see that someday, if not in this game. But yeah, I think just... And if Bailey can, if she got there and then like really laid out her game well, I think she has a great shot. I think Kevin might probably focus too much on like his villainous moves, and I don't think people are going to really care at that point that he like cut Will 10 months ago and all this stuff. So yeah, I agree. I think that would be a crazy final two.
Yeah, I agree. I'm into it. Kevin at one point calls himself a little black cat, which is so accurate because he's horrifyingly unlucky to anyone who aligns with him. Anyone who's like, I'm with Kevin. He is the black cat. Lucy knows what she should do in this episode. And it's the end of this episode is very interesting because Lucy knows what the right thing to do is and can't do it. Can't do it, won't do it. They're synonymous in this situation, which is an interesting college survivor question. I've talked about this when it comes to Survivor Maryland, talked about it when it comes to live games. This idea of I'm not going to do this because I don't want to do this. Yeah. This is different for me from the Leia thing because Lucy's not saying, she's not making a moral judgment on other people. She's not making it's not high and mighty. It's not moralistic. She's not being preachy about it. She's just saying, I'm not going to vote for Leia, even though it's the right thing to do. I don't want to do it. Essentially she votes herself out of the game here also.
Right.
Which honestly, later in my notes I have, this is kind of like a mercy killing in a way. Lucy in this episode could have taken the reins of the game and set herself up to be in a position to win All Stars, I think. She's openly saying what we've been saying on the podcast for weeks now, which is she can't play the same game twice.
Right.
She can't get to the end again and look like somebody's puppet. She's saying this out loud. She's saying it in confessional and she's saying it to Andrew. So we know she believes it. Lucy, this is, for me, this is functionally kind of like a quit. Even though she doesn't think she's going home. So Lucy doesn't think she's going home.
Right.
But at this point, she's giving up on winning the game.
Yeah, that's an accurate statement.
Like if she votes out Andrew here and it goes as they thought it was going to go with where Leia and Lucy vote out Andrew, basically Lucy can't win. I don't think. I mean, granted, there's a lot of game left. It's very hard to envision a scenario, a group of people Lucy could get to the end with and moves that she is openly saying she probably can't make to win the game.
Yeah.
It's frustrating because we've been saying how much we like Lucy on this go around.
I know.
And giving her kudos. And I think that was all warranted.
Yeah.
I don't regret saying any of that.
No, definitely
I think Lucy just makes a choice here that she's not going to win Survivor Michigan All-Stars. And so the best thing that can happen from a narrative standpoint is what happens, which is she goes home.
Yeah.
Because, you don't want to make it to the end with a bunch of people who probably can't win.
And let me throw one thing in there, though. With Cooper, with this phantom vote, wouldn't she have just gone home anyway? Like, I don't think, would Cooper have let Andrew go?
Well, if Lucy is saying she votes for Leia.
Oh, that's right.
Andrew
that's
is
what it was
voting for Leia too.
But would Cooper, I don't think Cooper would have let that happen. I think Cooper would have used he would have told, that's right. Leia can't vote for Lucy.
Leia's not voting for Lucy.
That's right.
So Leia votes for Andrew. So
I was like, wait, Cooper could still meddle with that, but that's right. Leia and Lucy. Leia wasn't voting for Lucy, so it would okay.
So that's
interesting.
If Lucy votes for Leia and Leia votes for Andrew, the only thing Cooper can do is steal Lucy's vote and turn it into a vote for Andrew.
Right.
Which I guess maybe that's the move Cooper is willing to make. I don't.
Yeah, who would Cooper want? I mean, you would think it would be Leia over Andrew, right? Like Cooper would be willing to let Andrew go. I don't know, though.
I guess. I don't know.
That might have to be like
to think about.
A question for him later on.
Yeah, it is very interesting because I hadn't considered that because I had just thought like he just wouldn't get involved. But
yeah,
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. At one point, Emily B is here again. And she's in this 3 with Cooper and Bailey. And we see Emily and Cooper talking. This is good again from Emily.
Yeah.
Like
she's put in the work.
Yeah, I have nothing bad to say about her game so far. She's trying to eavesdrop on Adam and Sam earlier in the episode, which is very funny. Because like she's saying it in confessional, and then they're cutting to like the scene where you can see her like very subtly trying to listen, and it's such a very funny moment of physical comedy where like if you didn't have the confessional, you would be like, I don't really know what she's doing, but with the confessional, it makes total sense.
Yeah.
Good for Emily.
Yeah.
Again, we've said it a lot. I have no problem with this.
No.
So then we have Bailey's 7. Okay. Let's just Bailey's 7 is
remind me.
Bailey, Cooper, Emily, Sarah, Nick, Megan, and Kevin. A group of people brought together by Bailey, only the sheer force of Bailey's will has brought and like parts of this I get, right? Because she has this 3 with Cooper and Emily. She feels like she's close with Kevin. Maybe Kevin pulls in Megan. I don't know how Sarah and Nick figure into this equation at all, unless Sarah's fake tears like have gotten the Sam mist on Bailey.
That's what I was gonna say. Like to pull in 2 people that just tried to take out one of your closest allies into your alliance.
You just berated for lying.
Right.
It's bananas.
So that leaves out Sam.
This leaves out. I have this written down.
Okay,
also.
Perfect.
So because she thinks Andrew's going. So in her mind, this leaves out Sam, Adam, Lucy, and then Leah, and then Bree. Why Bree is left out of this? She explains like that she thinks Bree is too close to Leia, so she has to be left out. Why she thinks Cooper is not going to want Leia to continue.
Yeah.
Her whole theory is that Cooper and Emily are so mad at Leia that they're ready to just move on without her.
Why are Cooper and Emily mad at Leia?
I'm trying to remember. Because Leia won't vote out Lucy, I guess. And she thinks that this is going to create some sort of like anger that lasts the rest of the game. I mean, Emily is saying in confessional that she is mad at Leia. And we do see Cooper kind of saying he's okay working around Leia. So it's not like we're not in total fantasy land.
Yeah.
But it's just a very weird story beat.
Wait, so who did Leia vote for in the first tribal?
I think she's like the lone Jackson vote.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because she's saying she's not voting for Lucy.
Right. So I was like, wait, she didn't vote for Lucy the first time,
no.
Did she? Okay, that makes sense.
I think Leia is the one vote that saves Cooper's life, which is insane.
That's so poetic.
It's so good.
Okay, that makes sense. I remember all that now.
Yes.
I don't see that being a true thing.
And also because Lucy ends up going home, Andrew is now, I guess, included in this plan. So now it's Bailey's 8. It's the 8. Sequel. And it's just everybody but Sam, Adam, Bree, and Leia.
Bree. Yeah, I can see like leaving Sam and Adam out of it.
Yeah.
The Bree and Leia part is a little confusing. And then also working with people that just tried to take out Cooper and lied to you is also interesting. But stranger things have happened.
Yes. I guess. If this comes true, we have to put Bailey on the Circle of Power next week if this comes true. So
right.
Cooper and Megan are meeting. And A, I love this.
Yeah.
But B, Megan we know Jackson is well and truly gone. Because Megan is saying, people are saying Cooper and I are close, and I didn't know we were, but I guess I'm going to lean into it. And it's like, yeah, dude. Yeah. Yes, this is what you should have been doing for months now. Is people are like, well, I'm close to somebody. I guess I'll play into it. And we see her do it with Kevin this week. We see her do it with Cooper this week. And it's like, I hate losing Jackson, and I'm still not over it. And I might not be over it for a long time. But who is over it is Megan. Immediately.
Yeah.
And she's living her best life. Her and Oscar are thriving. in this post-merge.
Yeah.
Sarah is openly saying that Bailey is in a great spot here.
Mm.
And Sarah is right.
Yeah.
Bailey is in a great spot here. I think that Sarah may be Bailey's only blind spot in thinking that Sarah is with her and she's not. But
yeah,
again, and she brings it up earlier, and she's like, Bailey is crying because it's the first time all game that she wasn't completely in the loop of everything going on. And she's right.
Yeah.
We're 7 episodes in, and it was basically the first time Bailey's been out of the loop. And she cried about it, which is not great. But then she's like right back into the hub of what's going on immediately.
Right. Yeah.
And so Bailey is like this very... I hate to do this, and I hate to do this, and I know what your reaction is going to be, but there maybe is a comparison between Bailey and Adam Klein to be had here. And you know how much it pains me to say that, because Adam is my favorite CBS Survivor ever.
Adam is one of my favorite winners.
He's my number one. Bailey so far has not played my favorite game on Michigan All-Stars. But in a way, there is something to this emotional, kind of chaotic player who may be finding their footing as the merge goes on and like maybe putting themselves into a good spot here.
That's a good metaphor or comparison. Like, and that's why I like Adam as a winner. Like, he was literally left out of the very first vote that his tribe went to. He was on the bottom, did some work at the swap to get through that, and then obviously destroyed the merge. So I say, for me, well, let's put a pin in this. If Bailey wins this game, I will put my stamp of approval on that statement.
I mean, and it's tough for me to even say, because you know how much I love Adam and how much he means to me, like how emotionally connected. Like, I have a parasocial relationship with this man's game of Survivor, and just the brutality. I'm not even going to get into Winners at War, but at any rate, put a pin in that with Bailey.
Yes, we will.
My direct quote from the notes here is, "This fake out Andrew eulogy, damn you, Ian." That's directly for you, sir.
Yes.
Because we get how does it feel to make the jury? And he's like, man, I'm just so happy. He's like, I wish it could go further, but like, I'm just so happy to make the jury. And I'm like, the entire end of this episode, Emmy. This is an Emmy-winning episode of television, because we are the college Survivor know-it-alls, right? We're the Survivor Michigan super fans. And I had totally forgotten about the Phantom vote. You hadn't. You were texting me while you were watching this after I did, and you hadn't forgotten about it. I was totally emotionally enraptured in this fake out Andrew boot, and just heartbroken for what was happening. Oh my God.
Yeah. And I think what I was thinking at first too was like, going back to what we were saying, like, I was like, Andrew's trying to get Lucy to vote out Leia. Cooper's not going to want Leia to go. So Cooper is going to use the Phantom vote to save her, which means Andrew goes. So I think that's what I was thinking through the episode. And the edit was definitely like pointing in the direction of Andrew potentially going. So it was just like, oh no, like this is how it's going to be. And also it's tough too when like it's a tribe of 3, right? So like there's got to be at least a decoy, because there's only 3 people on the tribe. So it was very well done setting it up like, okay, it's like Lucy has to make this big decision, and Andrew's like game hangs in the balance until this tribal.
And then we get kind of the same, it's almost the exact same ending as the Will Boot episode, where like they're standing around before tribal, and he's basically giving the Will like, why are you doing this to me speech, and she explains it. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's so good. And then this flashback to Cooper, he's voting for Lucy and he's giving the direct Lucy quote. How can anyone not love Survivor Cooper? I mean, I get how Lucy doesn't love Survivor Cooper.
Right.
It makes sense now. But like, Survivor Cooper is chef's kiss.
Yeah.
Like, he's so good.
Mm-hmm.
I love this man. And I haven't really, we've been like high on Cooper, like in general, like over the course of season 1 and then now, like, and then this season we've been kind of like, yeah, Cooper's playing great, whatever. Like, it's kind of annoying how good Cooper is doing. That is over for me. I am on the Cooper train. Love him. Yeah. I'm so into this. He's my end note here is just Cooper is just excellent. And he just is.
Yeah.
This end of this episode is an all-time great Survivor. This is an all-time great Survivor episode across all franchises. Did Leia know what was going to happen?
It felt like she was a little confused when the 2 Lucy votes came up.
She says in confessional, even I don't know what's happening tonight.
Yes.
Okay, in her voting confessional.
Yes.
But then when the Lucy votes come out, she's like, I don't know if she expected that Andrew was voting for her.
Right.
I hope we get that answer in the next episode.
Yeah, I'm assuming we will. Right.
And then Lucy goes, and the best part of this is that no one explains to her what just happened. And so she's under this impression that Leia and Andrew have somehow conspired to vote her out. And she's just like, but the thing is, like, again, and this goes back to my idea of this kind of being a mercy killing, is she just looks relieved.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't even really, like, you can tell she's definitely shocked.
Right.
And, like, upset.
Well, because she went into it thinking Leia was, she knew that Leia was saying that she was not going to vote for her, right?
Well, like, she thought that Andrew was voting for Leia was voting for Andrew, and she was making the deciding decision.
Right.
And so the fact that they both voted for her is a situation I don't know that anybody ever really talked about.
No.
So she's blindsided in a number, like, just in the general sense of, like, this was never even an option that was presented to her.
Yeah.
Because it's this incredibly wonky plan that happens with Disadvantage and Mastermind Cooper.
Yeah.
Again, to eulogize Lucy, she through 6 of 7 episodes, she outplayed her game in season 2.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And in this episode, she was in a position to make a huge move or essentially give up her chances of functionally, we'll say, because obviously Survivor is unpredictable, functionally give up her chances of winning the game. She chose the latter, and then through a very weird twist, ended up actually leaving the game while making that decision. God bless her.
Yeah.
I'm sure, again, this is something I say all the time, and I'm going to stick by it again here. Sometimes the things that make you good at Survivor are not things that make you good at life, and things that make you good at life are not things that make you good at Survivor. And I think Lucy is a good example of somebody who is, I'm sure, in life, lovely. Yeah. And very fun and great to hang out with and fun at parties, I'm sure, and, like, has all these wonderful qualities. But it is those wonderful qualities that cost her this game.
Yeah.
And you know what? It is what it is. There are more important things in life than Survivor.
Right.
I can't name any right
now. I was going to say, wait, I don't know if there is.
Nothing off the top of my head.
To some people.
Yeah, to some people. And I'm sure that Lucy has had a very rich and full life post-Survivor Michigan All-Stars. And she probably doesn't regret this very much at all.
Yeah.
So good for her. Before we get into the Circle of Power, I have 2 alternate universes for you.
Oh, love it.
Alternate Universe 1. And both of these alternate universes are where Cooper gets voted out instead of Jackson. Okay. Alternate Universe 1. I have to find and make sure that I have all of this correct. Alternate Universe 1 involves this tribe going to Tribal Council. That is Bailey, Bree, Nick, and Sarah.
I think Bree goes, unfortunately.
Is Bailey cutting Bree here?
Well, hold on. This is if Cooper goes.
This is if Cooper goes. So let's
So
say
if Cooper goes
this is the universe. I'm going to make this universe specific. This is the
Okay.
universe where Jackson does what he's supposed to do. We
Right.
never go to a tie, and the vote is 4, 3, 2, 1. 4 for Lucy, which get canceled. 3 for Jesse. 2 for Jackson, or 2 for Cooper, and 1 for Jackson.
Okay. So I mean, obviously Nick and Sarah vote together.
Yes.
So either, yeah, I think Bree or Bailey goes.
I agree.
It would really just be in Sarah and Nick's hands. I mean, I don't think they would go to a tie.
It's true.
So I think they would just get Bailey to vote for Bree and Bree to vote for Bailey, and then Nick and Sarah make the decision.
Interesting. Okay.
That's my
Where
thought.
do you think they're going here? Because Nick and Bree sort of have a thing. That's why, like, my hesitancy. And Bailey, theoretically, in this universe, we see how upset Bailey gets when Cooper gets 1 vote and stays in the game. Theoretically, in this universe where he gets 2 votes and gets voted out.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, then they just cut Bailey.
I feel like this is bad for Bailey here.
Yeah. That's a great point. I forgot about Nick and Bree's relationship. Yeah, it wouldn't make sense for Nick and Sarah to cut Bree.
I don't think so.
And they literally just blindsided Bailey in this universe, and also it worked.
Yes, and Cooper's phantom vote is dead. There's no idols that we know of in the game, except for, I mean, obviously Emily B may or may not have this Pringle idol, but I don't think Emily B is, I mean, maybe she's giving it to Bailey, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
So here's your other alternate universe then, is Megan, Kevin, Emily, Sam, and Adam go to tribal council. Now,
well, Sam and Adam obviously work together.
Keep this in mind. Kevin also thinks he has a steal vote.
Oh God, I forgot about that.
And Emily may or may not have an idol.
Oh. I don't. Okay, Sam and Adam work together. This is fun. I love scenarios.
Thank you.
Sam and Adam vote together.
Yes.
Kevin
and Megan are pretty much tied together at this point.
That's right.
And so is Sam so blinded by his hit list that he guns for Megan here?
Ooh, I wouldn't.
Or are Adam and Kevin able to say, hey, we just worked together. We just hatched this plan. It worked perfectly in this scenario. So Kevin and Adam and Sam have like hatched this plan together. It's worked perfectly. Do they target Emily B? Does Emily B have an idol? Does Kevin try to steal her vote fakely? Does Kevin try to plant a fake vote? I mean, that
would have been epic.
This is an all-time weird circus tribal council. I don't know if it's an all-time great tribal council. I think it's an all-time circus tribal council.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they do try to go for Emily B. Kevin tries to steal the vote, like you said, and it fails. Emily plays her idol. We find out if it's real or not. If it is, she votes for either Sam or Kevin.
Maybe. I don't know. Probably Sam, right?
Yeah. Then she idols Sam out with 1 vote.
And then Emily B is the queen of Survivor.
Yeah, massive
because
move on her resume.
Cooper's gone. She's got all these girls together still. Like,
yeah.
Okay, so here's your third scenario.
Ooh, another one. Okay.
Yes. Andrew, Jackson, Lucy, and Leia go to tribal council together.
Jackson goes easily.
Oh, you think Andrew is not trying to do something here? Here's the thing. This is an alternate universe where Lucy and Jackson have successfully voted out Cooper, and now they have to go to tribal council with Leia.
But again, if Leia's not voting for Lucy and Lucy's not voting for Leia, the 2 girls are voting for one of the boys.
Yeah, I mean, in this universe, is Leia still saying, I'm not voting for Lucy, even though she just voted out Cooper pre-merge? The thing that she said she would commit murder for?
But Lucy, in the real universe, tried to take out Cooper, and Leia still said she wasn't going to vote for her. So yes.
This is a fact.
You can go through, 908 million scenarios. Leia and Lucy aren't voting for each other in that.
I'm gonna put don't agree here.
You don't agree?
I don't agree. I think if this actually goes through and Cooper goes home, I think Leia. We saw the mild version of this. I think Leia goes absolutely apoplectic ape shit.
Wow.
If Cooper actually gets voted out pre-merge by Lucy and Jackson, I think she goes nuts.
And you think she would rather target Lucy than Jackson, though? I just don't see that happening.
I don't think it really matters because I think in that scenario, Lucy isn't like, I'm never voting for Leia. If Leia absolutely goes off the wall,
right.
I think they're able to pull in. I think
that would have to happen. You're right. Leia would have to go nutso on Lucy or whoever.
Yes.
And then that gives Lucy the okay to be like, okay, I'll team up with Andrew and Jackson and we just cut Leia.
I also think Adam and Sam are probably in Lucy's ear here saying like, it has to be Leia.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So, okay, those are our alternate universes. Now it's time for the Circle of Power.
Ooh. So I've never done this before, but I'm going to choose my Circle of Power live on the podcast.
I'm excited. We had a good discussion, so I think it's live.
Yeah, it's a live tribal and a live Circle of Power.
Live Circle. Who pops out to your mind first? Who's the top of your mind for the Circle of Power?
Ooh, that's a good question. It's going to be Cooper for me.
Yes.
I think he almost goes home. He, gets the votes together in that tie vote. He has a very strong reaction to almost getting voted out, and a lot of people that he was working with blindsided him. He leans into that, says, you know what? I don't really care. I'm going to lean into this moment and trudge forward. I feel like he builds back some bonds with people. Here's the thing. He doesn't burn any bridges, which is the correct approach. Like someone else could have taken this in a whole nother direction. So I think he just plays into the whole situation the best way that he can. Survivor Cooper is here to stay. And then the bonus is that he uses the phantom vote, and Andrew and Leia are still in the game, two of his closest allies. So how can you not be on the Circle of Power after all of that?
Yeah, I mean, he survives the assassination attempt, plays the social game basically note perfect, and then makes the biggest strategic move of the season thus far, using a very weird power to absolute perfection, the best way it could possibly be played.
Right.
Because now he's not just like tipping the influence of a vote from like a 3-3 to a 4-3 or whatever. He's dictating who goes home. Because like we said earlier, it should have been Leia votes for Andrew, Andrew votes for Leia, and one of those two go home. And instead, Cooper swoops in and makes it Lucy, a person who it was never going to be otherwise.
Right.
It's an absolute home run of a week for Cooper. So he has to be here.
Yeah.
I am absolutely going to pitch Sarah.
Perfect. That was going to be my next one.
Not just because she's funny and she's doing so well, like emerging as a character, but because I think she's playing really excellently. I think she's in a good position. I think a lot of people, I don't think she's really on anyone's hit list right now. I think even the Sam and Adam contingency, I think, have much bigger fish to fry than Sarah.
Yeah.
But she's locked in with Nick. She's good enough with Bailey that Bailey wants her in this 7. I like where Sarah sits right now.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. I think her name was coming up 2 episodes ago.
Yep.
Like, we were nervous that she might go in this double tribal. So to not only turn that around and recover from this whole crazy Cooper situation, and the people that were just crying on you are now welcoming you into this like alliance. That's hard to do. In a couple days' time, to get the whole game turned back around is very hard to do. So we're not surprised that Sarah was able to do that, and she is happily on the Circle of Power today.
Absolutely. Who's next?
I'm gonna say Andrew.
Yes,
I feel like
he was here for me too.
Yeah, I feel like he definitely played. I'm kind of talking about both episodes, but he just played all of this the best that he could. And again, like he remained calm through it all. Didn't really give up ever. And, his social game and connection with Cooper is what saved him at this tribal with that Phantom vote. So, I think it sets him up really well moving forward. I don't foresee him being at the top of the list as like a major target right away. So I like where he's at in the game and excited and happy for him that he's made the merge. This is what should have happened in his previous season, but that's okay. Happy he's here and excited to see him go further.
Totally agree. Andrew's got the big mo on his side. It's all about momentum, and Andrew's got it. He had a great week this week. He really had a fantastic week. Like you said, he never panicked. Ends up coming out gold in this situation. He's one of the only people in the game who hasn't made a move against Sam and Adam ever. And we know he's happy to do the bro down thing in a good spot. He's worked with Kevin. He's worked with Sarah and Nick. He's worked with Megan. He's worked with Cooper. Even though she voted for him, kind of, he's worked with Leia. He's close with Bailey. Andrew is kind of Mr. Popularity this season. He's kind of the king of Ann Arbor this season. And so that can take you a long way. Yeah. So I'm all in on Andrew. I want to talk about Emily.
Perfect.
She does not have a big episode here, but where she is, she's good. And that's kind of how she's been throughout this game is every time we see her, she's making the correct moves. She's doing what we would want her to do. She's in good with a lot of people. A lot of people feel like they're close with her. A lot of people feel like they can use her as a vote. She's also in with this Bailey 7 thing. And she is somebody who I think is using her reputation from her season to her advantage. She's not floating under the radar in the same way, because a lot of people are like, oh yeah, I'm with Emily. Emily's good. And I think if you can play that game and make it to the end and say, like, you all thought you were good with me because of season 3, and here I am, this jury in particular, I think is gonna like that. And I think would like to vote for somebody like Emily to win the whole thing. So I'm still very high on Emily being.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself. It's like one of those players that in early on we were kind of like, okay, what is she going to do this time around? Like this is her second shot. This is her all-star season. Like, what is she going to come in and do differently? And I think, she's not like the flashiest player right now, but I think that's perfect. I think there's enough of those in the game. You don't need to be doing that.
Yes.
She's going to insulate herself. She is insulated already going into the merge. She makes the right moves, gets to the end with the right people. She has a really great story. So, yeah, happy to have her on the circle of power.
Yeah. Do you want to round us out?
Sure. This might take me a second.
It's okay, because I still want to go a couple rounds on Bailey before we finish here.
Okay. I was considering saying her name for this.
Here's the conversation we have to have about Bailey. It goes to the fundamentals of what it means to power rank. The core of what we do here, the very being of our souls as the power rankings guys is power ranking about how you're playing or your likelihood to do well in the game. Bailey this week is in so good with everyone on this cast that we're laughing at her making an 8-person alliance because she doesn't even really have any reason to target the other 4 people. The other 4 people like her enough that this 8-person alliance is laughable because it might as well just be Bailey's 12.
Right.
And even the people that are annoyed with her or seem to get annoyed with her, they're not targeting her. They're not like, let's get Bailey.
Right.
She's in this thing where Emily B is saying, like, I'm closer to her than I am with Cooper, like, presumably probably one of the closest relationships in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin is saying, my whole game is tied to Bailey at this point. Andrew is saying, like, I like that Bailey talks to me and that, like, I have a working relationship with Bailey.
Yeah.
Again, she's got this thing with Cooper going.
Mm-hmm.
She's meeting with Sarah. There are so many people here that she's tied to that how does, barring any explosion, how does Bailey not make a deep run in this game?
I think what we're forgetting or just not mentioning is just like how much information she's telling all these people.
I know.
I think that's the thing. If she can pull that back and be a little bit more selective now that we're at the merge, that's, I think, going to be the make or break situation for her. Like if she's telling too many people too much information, we already know all of these people talk. I think that's going to be her downfall.
It's bad. This week, her close friends in this game are leaving her out of the vote because they don't trust her to not spoil what they're trying to do. But they're also never saying, let's get Bailey. Mm-hmm. Why don't we just do Bailey? Yeah. They're just saying we can't tell Bailey because we can't trust her not to leak this information.
Right.
Which is so confusing.
Yeah.
Because it's good that they like her and don't want to vote her out. It's very bad that they're not including her on these votes.
Right. She's an enigma for me at this point.
I don't have any kind of comparison for Bailey's game right now because, and again, it's easy to pick on her for some of these things. We don't like that she's leaking information. We don't like that she's kind of crying. We don't like that she's like kind of like whining and pouting on this walk to the challenge with Sarah and Nick. And yet, on the other hand, she's Teflon. It never sticks to her. Nobody is ever like, we see people being like, I'm annoyed with Bailey. But we never see people being like, it's time to get rid of Bailey.
Right.
I don't know. I do not know what the deal with her is. Is there some other circle we could put her on? Like,
I was going to say,
quite the circle of power, but it's like the circle of... Is she like the ball of confusion?
Maybe like a comet that's like coming close to the circle of power, or like she's just kind of hovering but hasn't like gotten into the gravitational pull yet or something.
She's like just the asteroid of confusion, or like the I don't know. I don't have any title for her yet. She is. In future seasons, we'll call this person the Bailey.
Yeah, yes.
It will just.
She has an official right. It's like, because it was funny because even in my brain, I was like, what we were just saying. I was like grappling with, do we put her in the circle of power or not? And I was like, I wasn't sure because I was like, I don't like. We can't forget everything that's happened in the game, but it's like she is in a good spot ish. But it's also like people aren't trusting her enough to bring her in on the plan. So it's like, it is a very intriguing situation to be in going into a merge. I think it's almost like I want to see a round or two of the merge for her.
Yes.
And see, now that you're like, it's an individual game, but it's like it's 11, 12 people all playing now together. Like that's going to be the make or break for her. And if she can play it well and gain some trust with people that they can give her information and she doesn't tell other people, then I think, boom, circle of power easily.
Yeah. She's kind of like one of these like 5th round draft picks, like in the pro sports leagues where you're like, she's got some off the field issues. Like she's like, there were some problems at the draft combine. There's like, there's some weirdness, but like the natural talent is there. And like she showed great promise in college, so you're kind of like, I'm willing to like with the like 24th pick in the 3rd round, like give me Bailey, like because like maybe she'll turn out to be incredible, and you'll have gotten 5 years from now people will be saying you got the steal of the draft when you drafted Bailey, or it'll be like the Detroit Pistons and they'll just laugh you off the court being like, why did you draft this person? What was your front office thinking? That's the only thing I have with Bailey. So, but you know what it is, though? We know what I will say in her favor.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what happens.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
She is
100%.
And who would have ever thought 2 months ago that we would be saying, I have to see what happens to Bailey next. We'd be clamoring for Bailey's secret scenes 7 episodes in. But you know what? Here we are.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Bailey.
Right. I'm excited to see what she does.
And you know what? What bigger compliment?
That's true.
It's College Survivor. You're not winning $1 million. It happened years ago.
Right.
And the fact that you and I are saying more Bailey scenes, even as we're also saying, ugh, why is Bailey crying in these scenes? We want more of it. So you know what? Kudos to Bailey. You are the talk of the town.
Yes. We just spent like a very large segment on Bailey. So that's the Bailey segment.
You are the Johnny Manziel of this, of that you may or may not be good at the game. We haven't decided yet, but we want you at the top of every episode of Sports Center. We just more Bailey content. So there you go. I think we've covered just about everything that needs to be covered in this episode.
Yeah.
It was a wild one. Again, totally understand the need for the tribal council hangover now because
for sure.
Like Ian said to us on the after show, this episode makes more sense when it's buttoned by these 2 tribal councils.
Yeah.
Makes way more sense. So
absolutely.
Happy about it. One more thing.
Ooh.
2 more things.
Oh, perfect.
This preview is just summed up in 2 words: tears and booze. All we see is people crying and people drinking.
Yeah.
And you know what? It takes me right back to undergrad. There's 2 things I was doing out in that cornfield in that little tiny college. It was crying and drinking and musical theater. But they're hopefully maybe we'll get some musical theater in.
That'd be cool.
Into it. And then this end of Act 1 post-credit scene is very weird. I don't because like you and I have theorized about a battle back for 7 weeks now.
Yeah,
and I briefly thought that that's where we were going. Like we were going to see like the ghosts of the voted out players like emerge, or like that last scene where we have the 3 empty chairs, like one of them come in, and like it ends up just being like this very like David Lynch-esque creepy semi-sentimental segment that left me feeling uneasy.
Yeah, I don't remember what my first reaction to that was. I mean, I kind of understand it's like, okay, the first act of the season is over, and we've obviously lost some really great players, but I think it's just Ian telling his stories.
Listen, the part where we're seeing the players, totally fine.
Yeah.
The part where we're seeing like frost on the grass and like the sun setting and 3 empty chairs is where but like in my head, I'm like, this has to mean something. And then in my head, I'm also like, my brain is broken from Survivor Michigan All-Stars, that like I'm reading into this when it's probably just this really weird, artsy, fartsy film major nonsense. And I'm allowed to say that because I'm one of them. Like, it's just weird.
That's kind of what I figured. I was just like, I think we just have to like accept it and just see what Act 2 brings.
And on that note, this has been the Power Rankings, guys. I'm Paul. As always, I'm here with Joe. We'll see you next week.
Bye, everybody.